Live bada beam, die bada beam. Draymond Green said that. Well, at least I think he did. But I'm definitely saying this. Welcome to High and Low. Good day and good night. Welcome to the High and Low Basketball Show. This is episode number 100 and Horace, aka episode number 154. 54 was the jersey number worn by former Chicago Bull and Orlando Magic forward Horace Grant. We all know Horace Grant. He was a huge part of the Bulls' first three-peat. I would consider him to be the third star on that Bulls team. You know, he was a defensive anchor, four-time all-defensive selection during that period. But where was Horace Grant during the second half of the Bulls dynasty? Well, when Jordan retired, Horace Grant stayed with the Bulls. In fact, he had his best season on paper, his lone all-star season in his first of the Jordan retirement years, in which the Bulls lost to the Knicks in the Eastern Conference semis, which was enough for Horace. You know, he saw a winner in Orlando, and then he hopped and skipped his way over to the Magic the very next year, a year that would see Horace Grant thrust into the same integral role on a title contender, defeating his former team, helmed by a fresh out of retirement MJ in the Eastern Conference semis, making it to the NBA Finals alongside Shaq and Penny Hardaway. However, the Houston Rockets were just too much for the Magic, too thirsty for a repeat, sweeping the Magic and closing the window for any opportunity for a team not called the Bulls to win a title for the next few seasons. He would spend the remainder of his career, Horace Grant, bouncing back and forth between Orlando and LA. In fact, Horace Grant reunited with his old coach Phil Jackson and former teammate Shaq in LA in 2001, where he would win another title, his fourth of his career. That Lakers team, of course, we know, they're a juggernaut. Only lost one game on their way to a second straight championship. And Horace Grant, well, he wasn't an integral part of that team, but hey, man, he picked the winner. He got his ring. Anyway,
what was his brother's name?
Harvey, father of Jeremy and
that's right.
Me, and I think it was only Jeremy and Jelani that made the league. But yeah, my name is Ike Amaechi, and I'm here with, well, that voice you just heard, that was Mitch Orsatti, aka Sir Mitch of House Orsatti. We also have the guest, Stephen Leslie, and the man formerly known as the Iron Sheik, Ugo the Sheik. And around here, we live by a principle governed by the high and low lives of the world, which means we talk about basketball, especially and specifically the NBA, especially this time of year. And we talk about it anytime, anywhere, north, south, east, west, high, and low. This week on the show, we are in recovery from a wild and unpredictable first round of the NBA playoffs, where we're going to talk about the players who have stepped up and the players who took a step back. Actually, no, you know, we're just going to focus on the players who stepped up. Yeah, I like that. We're also playing the prediction game, picking our winners, the teams that will advance to the conference finals, which is kind of funny because we're still waiting to see who will make the Eastern and Western Conference semis. But hey, predictions are predictions. Before we lock in, let me just check in.
Oh, hi. Thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage.
What did you say?
Got Ugo and Mitch back again. This is an impressive streak, gentlemen. 2 weeks in a row.
Oh, whoa, impressive.
Yeah, there we go. That's what we like to hear.
And Steven returned to the table. Actually, Steven, you were definitely here in spirit last episode. Your power rankings, very interesting.
What kind of power rankings were they?
Yeah, what was the name of those?
Well, we got to see power rankings, man. They're very controversial. Power rankings. Do you have anything to say about your power rankings? You can say the name if you want.
No, they were good, accurate, and concise, and white.
Interesting. Interesting. Anything you'd like to clarify in case listeners misconstrue the exercise of the title?
Nope.
Okay.
Not at all.
All right. Well, I have a question about the rankings from a listener, so you can address it in more detail at that moment. We do have a full house of opinions to work through, so we won't get into it right now. Anyway, gentlemen, I appreciate your time this week. Thank you for joining me. Listeners, thank you for joining us for another installment of High and Low. Another week, another episode, more NBA, so of course, more high and low. This week in NBA history, the best fell short. On May 3rd, 2007, the Golden State Warriors made history by defeating the Dallas Mavericks in a stunning 111-86 win in Game 6 of their first round series. This W did not only give the Warriors a series, but it also made them the first ever number 8 seed to beat a number 1 seed in the best of 7 playoff format. This unexpected and historic win shocked the basketball world, to say the least. The Mavericks walked into that series with the best record in the NBA, winning 67 games, and they had their bags packed and ready for a trip to the NBA Finals, but things, they don't always work out the way they're supposed to. On the last episode of the show, I dove into numbers when it came to the teams with the best records making it to the finals, let alone winning titles. Remember, I said 54 teams have finished a regular season with 62 wins or more and the best record, and 31 of those teams did not win a title. That was 57%. And the 2007 Mavericks were one of those teams. Now, as Sean mentioned last week, the Bulls were responsible for a few of those events. They beat the 91 Blazers, who had the best record, the 93 Suns, 96 Sonics, 97 Jazz, and the 98 Jazz. All had the best record in the NBA going into the playoffs, and all lost to the Bulls. This tells me one thing, that the Bulls coasted through the regular season because they probably could have easily had the best record in the NBA in those particular seasons. But MJ, of course, he knew how to coast and then turn it on for the playoffs. But hey, let's add the 07 Warriors to that spoiler list, led by my guy, Baron Davis. And then there's Jason Richardson and Steven Jackson, who happens to hate the Toronto Raptors. Not sure why, but he really does not like the Toronto Raptors. Now, this Warriors team, they didn't go on to win the title. They, of course, lost to the Jazz in the next round in the gentleman's sweep, but still an accomplishment. Still an accomplishment. You know, take out the top boy, it's a big thing. Fast forward to 2023, and another upset just occurred in the NBA playoffs. In case you've been hiding under a rock or not watching the playoffs, Giannis and his Milwaukee Bucks, the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, and the team who finished with the best record in the regular season, well, they suffered a surprising defeat to the number 8 seed Miami Heat in the first round. Shocking. They lost in 5 games. Another gentleman's sweep. Kind of embarrassing, to tell you the truth. And the 07 Warriors immediately came to mind when I saw that result, as the Heat followed in their footsteps by becoming the second number 8 seed to defeat a number 1 seed in the NBA playoffs. While the best team may not always win the NBA championship, these underdog victories remind us that anything can happen in the playoffs, the chaos of the playoffs. I hope I didn't jinx the Bucks with all that talk last week. Anyway, that's a little something for the NBA history nerds. Things are certainly happening in the NBA today, so let's talk about it.
Let's talk about something important.
I have not 1, but 2 listener questions this week. First, Steven raised a few eyebrows with his power rankings on the last episode, and Cheryl in Toronto had something to say. Cheryl in Toronto, Canada. Question is this from Cheryl. Question or statement, we'll see. See how you interpret it. Let's see. Steven's white power ranking was pretty offensive for many reasons. In the spirit of inclusion, it would only be fair to have a black power ranking. Can Steven give us his black power ranking? And please retire these rankings. Thank you.
Give me one more and then no more ever again, please. I love that.
Oh, well, hey, thank you, Cheryl. I appreciate the statement and question. I think it's a statement and a question. I think that's what it is. And as I said last week, I don't condone or endorse this list. Happy to retire these rankings from high and low. But I can't control what Steven does in his spare time. So, Steven, would you like to answer Cheryl's question? Do you have a black power ranking?
I do, but I don't understand what's so offensive. One of the players in there wasn't white last week, so it's inclusive enough. But anyways, we'll get to the black power rankings. So this is in the first round, obviously. At 3, I got De'Aaron Fox. averaging 37-6 in his first playoff series, and he isn't afraid to go after Golden State and light the beam. 2, I got someone else in that series. I got Steph Curry. He's playing over 40 minutes a game, and clear-cut best player on his team. Like, it's not even close. He's averaging 31, 4, and 4. They need him night in, night out. And then at number 1, I got Jimmy Butler. What can I say? 56 and 9, and 42 and 8, eliminating the number 1 seed in their home stadium after losing Tyler Hero, sending games to overtime with clutch buckets. Like, is there anything I need to say? I might say something else. I don't want Cheryl to get offended by it, so I'm not going to say it. Actually, I might say it.
Say it.
He also Rachel Nichols, so
What did you say?
I mean, you asked, man.
you did ask for it.
Go ahead.
So yeah, that rounds out my top 3 Black Power rankings.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Stephen, for your Black Power rankings. Cheryl, thank you very much for your statement, your question, and I hope Stephen's rankings will suffice.
All right, you guys, what's next?
I have another question. This one's from Maurice in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Florida man. All right.
Hey, don't you mean Fort Lauderdale, Florida, United States?
United States.
Yeah.
Fort Lauderdale, Florida, United States.
That's right.
Of America.
United States of America.
The question is this. Is it possible to be an NBA podcaster if you only watch the playoffs?
Yes. So tune into High and Low every week.
Exactly. That's a silly question.
Yeah, you care to field that one, Ugo?
Yeah. Go ahead, you go.
Well, in this day and age when anybody can podcast and anybody can watch NBA and get the highlights off of YouTube, I think that answers itself.
This day and age.
This day and age.
In my time.
When anyone can podcast. So now we're just anyone, huh? Well, it really speaks to our credibility here.
Well, I mean, I'm sure we all got our credentials that we could talk about.
I will say though, playoffs.
Give me one, Ugo. Give me one credential.
One credential. Oh,
sorry, Steve.
I once
bad start.
I didn't even get it out yet. You know what? I'm gonna defer to Steven.
I was gonna say playoffs matters more than regular season. We could see that already, but you actually have to watch playoff games. So Hugo, are you watching playoff games? Okay.
Yeah, no. I watch. Well, okay, wait. What do you like? Do I have to watch all 4 quarters? Because sometimes it gets boring. And,
well, I said games with an S. Have you watched more than 3 games?
Yes, I've watched more than 3 games. But Courtney and Scott have a new TV show, so that's been interfering.
Okay. West Coast time.
Great question.
So I have a very good question. I have another question for you, Hugo. So what constitutes a game? Like, how many quarters do you have to watch in order to consider yourself having watched that game?
3.
Okay, so you've watched 9 quarters of basketball? At least?
No, more than that. Like, I've actually been following Miami and Milwaukee quite a bit. I didn't bother with Denver because I didn't think that was anything special to watch.
This guy, come on, man.
And then Lakers and Memphis, I mildly paid attention to, but I didn't actually watch the games. And then Clips and Phoenix a little bit, but then it got boring when Kawhi was just out every single game.
He's just listing stuff again.
I was just gonna say,
I'm just listing some of the same stuff I glanced over.
No,
but
because
mainly Miami and Milwaukee.
He asked you which ones have you watched, and you're just listing.
Yeah, this one was boring.
Listen, I glanced at it, but legitimately watched was Miami and Milwaukee.
Okay,
man.
All right. Well, Florida man, Maurice from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, United States of America.
United States of America.
Appreciate your question. Gives us a lot to think about. Actually gives Hugo a lot to think about. All right.
Hey, what?
Quick reminder to High and Low Lives, if you want to leave a question, just like Cheryl and Maurice left us, you want us to answer those on the show, well, just drop us a DM on TikTok at More High and Low while you still can. And drop a DM on Instagram at Get High and Low. Links are in the show notes. Time for a break. When we come back, we're going to get into some NBA playoff stock up, stock down talk. We'll be right back with more High and Low.
This moment is brought to you by High and Low listeners. This week on the High and Low NBA show, listeners were asked to share their top 5 overrated role players. Shango in Shreveport, Louisiana shared his picks starting with number 5, Jay Crowder of the Milwaukee Bucks. Number 4 is DeJounte Murray of the Atlanta Hawks. Number 3 is Domantas Sabonis of the Sacramento Kings. Number 2 is Dylan Brooks of the Memphis Grizzlies. The number 1 overrated role player is Austin Reeves of the Los Angeles Lakers. Thank you for sharing your picks, Shango. Back to High and Low.
Welcome back to the program. I'm here with Steven, Mitch, and the man formerly known as the Iron Sheik, Ugo the Sheik. As we've moved into the second round of the NBA's second season, their real season, we have enough of a sample size to form opinions about performances, teams' performances, players' performances. The postseason, it's a different beast, as we've learned. And there's many a player that have had regular season success only to succumb to the pressure and chaos of the playoffs. And then there are others who rise to the occasion. The playoffs are their home. It's all that matters. That's where they're most comfortable. That's where they thrive. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Kawhi Leonard, 2019 Kawhi Leonard. Let me just say that. Actually not. Kawhi Leonard, he rose to the occasion when he was in San Antonio. And LeBron James, of course, who lives in the playoffs. These players have shown us in years past that they can turn it on, turn it up for the postseason. Their stock rises at this time of year. So name one player who's had their stock rise the most based on the performance in these NBA playoffs of 2023.
All right, I'll go with this. I'm going to go with Jalen Brunson. He's making a lot of people wonder, why the hell did Cuban do the same mistake he did with Steve Nash? Been averaging 24 points a game and definitely leading those Knicks in a way that we haven't seen in quite a few decades. I still got to go back to Dallas. Like, I don't know what they did letting this guy go. I mean, I think he was worth the money, and a 1-2 punch of him and Luka would have been very interesting to see in the West. I'm a little curious though, because his playoff run in Dallas, he significantly dropped after the first round. So just curious to see how effective he'll be in the second and possibly third round of the playoffs. The other thing I'll say is, does New York have a new point god for everybody to worship? Maybe.
Okay, next, what's his name? With his back to me.
Steven, what player would you say has had their stock rise this first round?
Sean's not here, so I thought he was going to be here, so I picked a different player. So the guy I have that stock has risen is...
ルイ・ハチムラロサンゼルス・レイカーズの
Rui Hachimura. I don't know where this guy's game just ascended from, because as soon as the playoffs started, he started to take off. He's averaging 9 points per game in the regular season, getting sparing minutes here and there. Game 1 drops 29, then 20, 16. First 3 games of the playoffs for him, and he's 11 of 19 from threes, 10 of 12 from the free throw line. He's averaging 5 defensive rebounds per game, while AD is on his team and Jaren Jackson's on the opposing team. After games, they're interviewing him, saying, hey, it's whatever time, and all of Japan is watching, all of LA is watching, and I think he's earned himself a little bit of extra money this offseason.
Is he a free agent?
I think so. Because Lakers traded Kendrick Nunn for him, and everyone was saying, oh, this is a steal because we got him for nothing, but nothing came out of it. I'm seeing 9 points per game in the regular season here or there. I know he joked that in the group chat his teammates were saying your dunk package is terrible. And it's funny because I was saying that. I'm like, for such a big-sized guy, his dunk package was not that good. And now he's getting a little ups. If we...
Absolutely not.
Sorry, not we, but if Lakers lose out on Austin Reeves...
Who the hell is that?
I'm not mad if they retain Hachimura, if he can continue this.
Yeah, but Austin Butler's asking for what, at least 50?
Stop. Austin Reeves
80 plus.
hasn't
80
asked
plus,
for
right?
anything yet. Everyone else in the media has projected what he would ask for. But yeah, so that's who I'm going with, his Rui.
Okay.
Barrage.
Nice. Now, I hope he can stay a Laker. I'd prefer to have Rui over Austin Butler, but, that's just me.
They come together, tandem, Batman.
Exactly. Yeah. Austin
Wait,
Butler.
who's Batman? Who's Robin?
Can you please stop calling him Austin Butler? Please, he hasn't done anything to deserve this disrespect.
Yes, he has.
He's a quiet guy. He doesn't say anything.
The NBA speaks for him, man.
Oh, okay.
A 1 hour highlight?
1 hour.
Needs to stop, man. Needs to stop. Mitch.
Yeah, so my guy his stock hasn't risen the most per se, but one guy who I think their stock took a big jump is Nickeil Alexander-Walker. He played incredible defense on Murray from like game 1 all the way through to game 5. And that was kind of expected, I think, from him. But more than that, he was hitting big clutch threes. And I think because he's bounced around a little bit, I think he just earned himself a little bit of okay, this guy might be for real. This might be what he is. You just got a bump in your pay grade, I think, from that series.
Earning a bonus.
Yeah, a little bit. That's why you watch those series, Ugo.
Yeah, Mitch, I was just thinking, I was like, who watched that series?
Yeah, I watch every single game because it's so rare I get to watch Denver, right?
Just wait till round 2.
I can't wait.
That's true.
I'm assuming that everyone thought that Sean was going to be here tonight to mention Jimmy Butler.
Let me speak on that real quick, if you don't mind. This is not stock rising for Jimmy Butler. This is expected regular stuff for Jimmy Butler. He's, not average, but he's really good in the regular season. And then this is playoff Jimmy. This is what is expected.
But can I say why I think it's stock rising? Remember when the regular season, we ranked our top 25, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did we all had him from 20 to 25, I think?
Yeah, he was in the
and I think was it only me and you, actually, that had him? I think other guys didn't even have him on.
I think I had him at 22 or something.
Yeah.
But I think that's okay. Regular season, this is what he's doing, right? He's easing himself in, saving himself a bit for the playoffs.
But then look at the play-in. The play-in, we're like, are they even gonna make the playoffs? And then boom, he starts drinking that coffee. That's it. And I think he's playing like he's the best player in the NBA right now.
Oh, he's been the best player in the playoffs by a lot.
And I'm like, but I thought Sean was gonna be here to slobber all over Jimmy's. That's why I was like, all right, we'll talk to
slobber. Glaze. much cleaner word.
Bottom up.
Still means the same thing. So are you saying his stock doesn't count because we expect him to do it?
It counts.
No.
It just doesn't. It's not rising. It's just
not rising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I expected it to be a blue chip stock. It is a blue chip stock.
Exactly.
Okay.
There you go. Well, there you have it. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get into some predictions. That's exciting. We'll be right back with more High and Low. This episode of High and Low is brought to you by the number 50, as in a 50 piece, the number 30, and the death of the Purple Bean Dream, R.I.P. Let's get back to the show. And we are back. Before we turn off the power and call it an episode, let's predict. Gentlemen, who are your picks to advance to the Eastern and Western Conference Finals? Keeping in mind, at the time of this recording, we were still waiting for a couple more results. But let's make our predictions anyway.
All right. East or West?
You can start in the West.
Start in the West. Got the Los Angeles Lakers against the Phoenix Suns.
So you think that the Lakers, assuming that the Lakers beat the Grizzlies,
Yeah.
that the Lakers would get past
Golden State.
Golden State.
But
Or
actually,
Sacramento.
I was gonna say, I actually thought it would be Sacramento. Unfortunately, this finger issue. So I still gotta go with my gut, but
I'm just trying to get this straight here.
yeah.
You think the Lakers are positioned to beat the Warriors as is?
Yeah.
Matchup.
Warriors are one of the worst road teams this season. The worst. So all the Lakers have to do is steal one game. One game. It might go to
They're
seven.
also one of the best home teams, if not
Yeah.
the best, maybe.
Okay. But
Weren't they bad last year too?
that's okay. So let me finish. Like I said, all the Lakers have to do is steal one game and that's it. It's a wrap. First team to 4.
And on the other side of the bracket, you have
Denver losing to Phoenix.
Which I told you guys this already though. I just
Yeah.
think Kevin Durant, I just don't think he can be stopped. Next round. Like this is a feeling out process. Round 1, Booker's going off, doing his thing. But I feel like next round, they gotta not change it up, but open up. KD, it's go.
I think Mitch is going to go the same way.
Or else it's a failure. If Kevin Durant doesn't come out of the second round, it's bad.
He's been there like a month, man. Maybe more. I don't know. I don't know if it's a failure. They need some time.
I mean, for his career, because every time he's on a championship winning team, he's with a bunch of stars. And, he's with the stars again, right?
he's with one star. Let's keep it a buck.
All right, Chris Paul.
Let's keep it a buck.
He's just washed.
And there's no such thing as failure.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I don't agree with that either.
All right. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. All right, so let's stay in the West. Mitch, who do you have?
Yeah, I have the Denver Nuggets beating Phoenix. I think Phoenix is going to be Denver's biggest test of the postseason throughout the entire thing. It's going to be a shootout. Thankfully for the Nuggets, they're really, really good on the offensive end, and I think they have a little bit of an edge on Phoenix on the defensive side, and they got home court, and Denver is an extremely hard place to play in, and you got to do it a lot. I think it's a slight margin for Denver. And then to be honest, I didn't even think about who their opponent would be because I don't think it matters. I think this is their toughest match, and they beat Phoenix and they beat anybody else. Bring on whoever.
This guy honestly just the laugh.
Yeah, I honestly don't think it matters. I honestly
Stop.
don't think it matters at all.
Kevin Garnett the other day was talking to Bones Highland.
Oh yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, and he's just asking him, he's like, is the altitude, is that a real thing, man? Like, is it making that big of a difference? And Bones Highland was just like, indeed, yes. And then Kevin Garnett just started, he's a gifted storyteller, and this guy talking about how, like, in his days when they're, as a visiting team, they're in the layup line and they're hearing the announcer saying, like, with all these announcements about the altitude and people having to take, whatever. But he said he was always nervous about that. And it just made me think about that advantage that Denver really has, just being up that high. And their players, they've grown accustomed to playing at this altitude, and others just stepping in. Like that's the ultimate home court advantage.
And something that you said that's interesting is, like, he asked if it's a big advantage. It doesn't have to be big. In sports, when you're playing at this level, like all these guys are top tier athletes. All you need is a marginal advantage. Infinitesimal percentage point is enough to swing things.
Exactly. And we have the police coming for us right now.
Because what you're saying is criminal. Like Denver.
Let's just wait for that.
Oh man. Okay. Well, since you're not muted, Ugo, because I'm pretty sure that came from your end.
Yeah. No, not this
I think it was
okay.
really? It was me.
Oh,
Exactly. Thank
Police. Okay.
Thank you. Oh, well, that's where we think he is.
Anyways, well, just because
That cat's long out the bag.
Anyway, you go. How will you share your?
Okay, so I'll be honest. I didn't go by any sense of logic. I just followed drama, storylines, and rivalries. So it can only be the West. So it can only be Lakers versus Denver rematch of the bubble, or Golden State against Phoenix.
It can only
grudge
be
match.
Or
it can only be right, because a lot of people feel that the Lakers weren't really deserving of that championship. So Lakers beating Denver twice to go to the finals and win again would be a nice little habitual repeat. And Denver, well, I mean, they gotta get over the hump. So focus on the Lakers and beat the Lakers, and then you can really say you're the kings of the court.
I guess that would be the NBA Finals right there. Then I can't say anything to Mitch for like a year.
Yeah, based on King's logic, yes,
well,
that would.
Y'all can't talk to me if Jokic wins a chip, it's over.
Well, that's not happening.
I'm almost afraid if that happens. That's all I'll say on that one.
Scoffing and laughter.
Top 10.
Prospect of this. Yeah.
Top 10 where?
Don't worry about it, Hugo. It's not going to affect you.
All right, you guys, what's next?
All right, let's move on to the East. So, Mitch.
Yeah, my Eastern Conference prediction is I got Miami in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think this is like prime Jimmy Butler in the Garden. He's going to put it all out on the line, and then I think he runs out of gas in the next round and they flame out. No pun intended. And then, similarly but not so, to my Western Conference prediction. In the West, I didn't care because I don't think it matters. In the East, I don't care because I hate both teams. Presuming it's going to be Philly, Boston. I don't care. Let's go ahead and call it Boston. Sure.
All right. And Steven, what about you?
I got Miami Heat, and they are going up against the Philadelphia 76ers.
Wow. Okay, tell me why.
Well, Philly is going to beat Atlanta in the second round.
Atlanta.
It was at this moment that he knew. He f***ed up.
Yeah.
Wow. Love it.
I think this is what Embiid wanted. He cried all regular season about MVP, cried about defensive player, so whatever. He'll cry his way to the Eastern Conference Finals, and he'll make it.
And speaking of that, we'll be talking about the NBA award winners next episode, just because we're still waiting for one more announcement. Yes.
Are we? Like, they've been announcing these random things at random times. I'm like, oh, what? I totally forgot there's a...
No fanfare at all.
Yeah. Here you go.
Hilarious, right? They unveil this big fanfare to unveil all these new trophies, and then they just like dribble the news out. Who cares?
Shiny, shiny.
You were the clutchest player. Light the beam.
Stop it. You're going to make me beam.
That's what I think about every
time. Every single time.
I don't want to know what that is.
You know what? You know exactly what that was. Yeah.
I don't want to know.
No.
All right. You go. Why don't you tell us your Eastern Conference prediction? Conference semis.
Yeah, I went with the throwback. I want to see a Knicks Boston Eastern Conference Finals, reminisce of the good old days.
Good old.
You got the two big markets, and I really want to see more of the Knicks fans. Always do their stupid intros and all that stuff. I just think if they went to the Eastern Conference Finals, all those intros would be like even more hilarious.
Like their celebrations, right? After the game and stuff?
Even before the game.
I love it. I can't stop watching it.
I know.
I'm like, this is addicted. I follow this guy on Twitter, and he's like, okay, I'm warning you guys on 7th Street and whatever. The crowd is coming. Leave your homes. I'm like, what?
And they got that guy back who was like talking about KD not going to the Knicks.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
No,
it's literally a mob of hooligans.
The F. Trae Young stuff.
Oh, that's
they ain't even playing Trae Young. I'm like, all right.
yeah. Or the super hyped individuals like, we're the effing Knicks and we're gonna win.
Love it.
Oh Lord. So yeah, I just want to see more of that foolishness. And I want to see them go to Boston and do it.
That's pretty close.
Yeah. Easy trip.
So gentlemen, thank you for your contributions.
Why the f*** I can't shoot 3-point shots?
That brings us to the end of this episode of High and Low. So thank you, Ugo. Thank you, Mitch. Thank you, Steven. Subscribe to High and Low anywhere you find podcasts. Make us a part of your weekly routine. If you want to leave a review and a rating, please do. Helps others find the show. And you know where to find us. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. Links to those are all in the show notes. So where can listeners find you, Steven?
I'm on Instagram at Esteban_Roy, ESTEBAN_ROY. I'll probably be doing more rankings next week.
Oh, okay. So check out Steven's rankings.
Check in, Cheryl.
There you go.
How many races are left?
All right. Let's move on to Mitch. Where can they find you?
You can find me over on Twitter at ThirstyVillain.
Yeah. And just lamenting because they're tearing down Mitch's.
Just enjoying the show.
Raptors.
Just enjoying the show, you know? Coaching, whatever. Let's not talk about them. Move on. Who cares? This isn't a Raptors podcast.
There you go.
Took 3 years for me to come around to saying that, but here we go.
Oh, man. All right. And Ugo, where can they find you, man?
Can't be found. I'm going to be chilling, enjoying myself, monitoring the Discord because there's a lot of reckless statements being made.
What?
1974 was when the Knicks and Celtics last met in the Eastern Conference Finals. And that's that. It's the good old days. Good old days.
What reckless comments are happening in the Discord?
Oh, man, you guys know.
That's a rhetorical question. Don't answer.
Exactly.
All right.
I miss you, Sean. I miss you, man.
Sean doesn't miss you, bro.
Whoa.
Wow. Wow. And once again, music is by Live of the Enjoy Music Group. You can find Live on Twitter and on Instagram at LYVE. Additional music is by Sonny Rockwell of The Goodness. Can't find that guy anywhere, but you can find the music on his podcast. Some good music too. Sound design by Vonn+Abrahamm. This is a Vonn+Abrahamm podcast, just in case you didn't know. So on behalf of Steven, Mitch, and Ugo, and sometimes Sean, thank you for listening to High and Low. I'm Ike Amaechi, and we'll talk to you next week.
さようなら、聞いてくれてありがとう。